A stock market heist, the Harshad Mehta story. The year was 1992. India was opening up its economy, and a seemingly ordinary stockbroker named Harshad Mehta was about to pull off one of the biggest financial scams the country had ever seen. It was the kind of brazen scheme that would make even the Wolf of Wall Street blush, involving billions of rupees, a web of banks, and enough jargon to make your head spin. Now you might be thinking, Raghav, I'm just a regular person trying to make sense of the world. Why should I care about some dusty old stock market scam from the 90s? And to that, I say, fair point. But here's the thing. Understanding how scams work, even the really complicated ones, is more important than ever. Because the truth is, the world is full of Harshad Mehtas. They're out there right now, lurking in the shadows of the internet, waiting to take advantage of unsuspecting people. And while we can't promise to turn you into a financial expert overnight, we can give you the tools you need to spot a scam a mile away. Setting the stage, India's economic landscape in the 1990s. Picture this. It's the early 1990s. India is shaking off the shackles of its socialist past and embracing the brave new world of free market capitalism. The economy is opening up, foreign investment is pouring in, and the Bombay Stock Exchange, well, let's just say it was the hottest club in town, even if you didn't fully understand what a stock option was. Now, into this heady mix steps our protagonist, a relatively unknown stockbroker named Harshad Mehta. He's got ambition oozing out of his pores, a Rolodex bursting with names, and a knack for exploiting loopholes like it's an Olympic sport. See, back then, the Indian banking system was a bit like a teenager who just got the keys to the car, a little reckless, not a lot of oversight, and ripe for a joyride. And Harshad Mehta, well, he was more than happy to take the wheel. He realized that he could exploit a quirk in the banking system, a little something called the Ready Forward deal. Now, I could bore you with the technicalities, but essentially it involved banks temporarily lending each other money using government bonds as collateral. Sounds innocent enough, right? Well, Harshad figured out a way to game the system. He convinced banks to issue him bank receipts against these bonds, which he then used to get more loans, creating a pyramid scheme of epic proportions. The art of the scam, Harshad Mehta's modus operandi. Now, let's be clear, what Harshad Mehta pulled off was incredibly complex. It wasn't some simple smash-and-grab job. This was a meticulously planned heist executed with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker. If that Swiss watchmaker also happened to be a master manipulator with a taste for the finer things in life. Mehta's genius, if you can call it that, was his ability to exploit the trust and the loopholes that were so deeply embedded in the system. He understood human greed, the desire to get rich quick, and he played on those desires like a virtuoso. He started by cultivating an image of himself as a financial whiz-kid, a regular oracle of the stock market. He would throw lavish parties, hobnob with politicians and celebrities, all to create this aura of invincibility, of being in the know, and people bought it. They poured their savings into the market, often on Mehta's advice, driving up stock prices to dizzying heights. He was like a Pied Piper, leading investors on a merry chase, except the pipe was full of cash and the music was about to stop. But behind the facade of success, Mehta was juggling a house of cards. He was using funds from new investors to pay off old ones, all the while siphoning off a hefty chunk for himself. It was a classic Ponzi scheme dressed up in a Savile Row suit. The wall's close in exposing the scam. Now, you can't keep a scam of this magnitude under wraps forever. Eventually, someone's going to notice that the emperor, in this case Harshad Mehta, is wearing no clothes. And in this story, that someone was a tenacious journalist named Sucheta Dalal. Dalal started noticing discrepancies in Mehta's dealings, like a bloodhound picking up a scent. She dug deeper, following the money trail through a labyrinth of shell companies and dubious transactions. It was like trying to untangle a plate of spaghetti, except the noodles were made of money and the sauce was pure, unadulterated fraud. In April 1992, Dalal published her exposé in the Times of India, blowing the lid off the entire operation. The reaction was seismic. The stock market, which had been riding high on Mehta's speculative wave, crashed like a deflating balloon. Investors, many of whom had bet their life savings on Mehta's guaranteed returns, were left financially ruined. Banks were scrambling to cover their losses. The government was in damage control mode, trying to reassure the public that the entire financial system wasn't about to go belly up. Chapter 4: The Reckoning, Legal Fallout and Aftermath. The walls were closing in on Harshad Mehta. The man who had once been hailed as a financial genius was now public enemy number one, facing a slew of charges, from fraud and forgery to criminal conspiracy. The trial was, well, a media circus. Every twist and turn was front-page news as the nation watched, captivated as the man who had once seemed invincible was brought low. But while Mehta was eventually convicted and sentenced to prison, the damage was done. The scam had exposed the fragility of India's financial system, the lax regulations and the culture of cronyism that had allowed someone like Mehta to thrive. In the aftermath, the government introduced reforms to strengthen regulations and increase transparency in the stock market. It was a painful lesson, but a necessary one. Chapter 5: Lessons Learned, the enduring legacy of the Harshad Mehta scam. Now you might be thinking, okay, Raghav, but this all happened decades ago. Why does it matter now? And you know what? That's a fair point. But here's the thing about history. It has a nasty habit of repeating itself, especially if we don't learn from our mistakes. The Harshad Mehta scam was a wake-up call, a stark reminder that no system is foolproof, and that even the most sophisticated markets can be manipulated. It highlighted the importance of regulation, of transparency, and of holding those in power accountable. It also underscored the need for financial literacy, for individuals to be able to spot the warning signs of a scam and protect themselves. Mehta may be long gone, but the lessons we can learn from his story are as relevant as ever, especially in today's world of online trading, cryptocurrency, and increasingly complex financial instruments. Chapter 6: The Psychology of a Scam, Why We Fall for It Now. It's easy to look back at a scam like Harshad Mehta's and think, how could people be so gullible? But the truth is, scammers are incredibly good at what they do. They're masters of manipulation, exploiting our deepest desires and vulnerabilities. They prey on our greed, our fear of missing out, our desire for easy money. They often target people who are vulnerable, whether it's due to age, financial insecurity, or simply a lack of knowledge about how scams work. They use sophisticated psychological tactics like building trust, creating a sense of urgency, and using flattery to lower our guard. They might even use our own emotions against us, making us feel like we're the smart ones, the ones who are in the know.
So, how can you protect yourself from becoming the next victim of a scam? Well, the first step is awareness. The more you know about how scams work, the better equipped you'll be to spot them. Look out for promises of unrealistic returns. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Be wary of high-pressure sales tactics, like deadlines or limited-time offers. These are often designed to make you act impulsively without thinking things through. Do your research. Check out the company or individual offering the investment. Look for reviews and testimonials from reputable sources, and never, ever invest money that you can't afford to lose.
Now, even the most cautious among us can fall victim to a scam. If you think you've been scammed, it's important to act quickly. Contact your bank or credit card company immediately to report the fraudulent activity and try to recover any lost funds. File a police report. This will create a record of the crime and may help authorities track down the scammer. And don't be afraid to reach out for help. There are organizations like the Better Business Bureau or the Federal Trade Commission that can provide support and guidance to scam victims.
So, how can you stay ahead of the curve and protect yourself in this ever-evolving landscape of scams? Well, knowledge is power. There are countless resources available online and offline that can help you stay informed about the latest scams and how to avoid them. Websites like the Federal Trade Commission, the Better Business Bureau, and the Securities and Exchange Commission offer a wealth of information on scam prevention, as well as tips on what to do if you've been targeted. And don't underestimate the power of talking to others. Share what you've learned with your friends, family, and colleagues. The more people who are aware of scams, the harder it will be for scammers to succeed.
The fight against financial scams is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires constant vigilance, education, and a willingness to speak out against fraud. Remember, scammers thrive on secrecy and silence. By reporting scams, sharing your experiences, and raising awareness, you can help create a safer financial environment for everyone. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the intricacies of the Harshad Mehta scam to the psychology of scammers and the importance of staying vigilant. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now it's your turn. Have you ever encountered a scam? What steps did you take to protect yourself? Share your experiences, insights, and questions in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and help each other stay one step ahead of the scammers. So there you have it. The Harshad Mehta scam, a tale of ambition, greed, and a whole lot of financial chicanery. It's a story that should serve as a cautionary tale for all of us. A reminder that even the most complex systems can be gamed, and that no one is immune to the allure of a good scam. But it's also a story about the importance of accountability, of a free press that's willing to hold the powerful to account, and of a public that demands transparency and integrity from its institutions. So the next time you see a guaranteed investment opportunity or a once-in-a-lifetime deal, remember Harshad Mehta. Remember that if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. And remember that the best way to protect yourself from a scam is to be informed, be vigilant, and never be afraid to ask questions.